Many of you know of famous people all over the world. Well, I want to tell you about someone who was a treasure right in her own community. Miss Ellen, come quick, the baby's coming. That was the call Miss Ellen Sturb would hear many times. People all over Coconut Grove, Florida would come calling for her whenever someone was in labor because she was the baby lady. She was the baby lady. She was the baby lady. She was the midwife. Yes, Miss Ellen Sturb was a midwife for over 35 years, and she delivered hundreds of babies, or as the folks would say, brought into this world. That was the way it was. These were the days of segregation. Black patients were segregated in city hospitals. They were kept in unclean, undesirable, and sometimes just unheard of circumstances in these hospitals. Now, because of this racism and because of the unavailability of doctors, many black patients preferred to use their own midwives, someone they could trust, someone like Miss Ellen, someone who was the baby lady. She was the baby lady. She was the baby lady. She was a midwife. Now, during this time, the Bahamians had immigrated to Miami, and many settled in the Coconut Grove area. And they brought with them, yes, their own midwives, their own healing styles, their own remedies. Miss Ellen immigrated to Miami in 1910. Now, she had been trained by her own mother, Charlotte, who was also a midwife. Yes, now Miss Ellen was a pretty woman. Oh, she had fair skin and long black hair that she wore pinned up in a bun with those large hairpins. But listen, don't mistake her prettiness for softness. She was known to get anybody straight if they tried to do anything wrong. Miss Ellen rode a bicycle, not a 21 speed, and it had a big wooden basket in the front. And when she'd go on deliveries, she carried in that basket her little black bag, a pot of hot water, and food. Now, she carried the food because often the families she was visiting didn't have anything to eat. And she carried a pot of hot water because often there was not running water in the homes. And she'd have to wait for someone to get the water for it to be heated. She'd visit those patients for 9 days or more after the babies were delivered, bringing the families food. Oh, Miss Ellen loved her work, and the families loved her because she was a baby lady. She was a baby lady. She was a baby lady. She was a midwife. Now, sometimes later, Miss Ellen brought her mother to the United States, and she and Miss Charlotte worked together in South Miami and Coconut Grove area as midwives. Miss Charlotte would walk to see her patients, and she would walk down the street in that long starched white apron. She carried a little black bag too. Sometimes she and Miss Ellen would go together. Sometimes they'd have to stay later to the night, waiting for deliveries. Now, it was the summer of 1931 when Miss Ellen delivered her first set of twins. The mother, Miss Maggie, had gone to work that day as a housekeeper, or as the folks would say, she did day's work. Late that night, someone came calling for Miss Ellen. Miss Ellen, come quick, the baby's coming. She jumped on her bicycle and rode the few blocks to Charles Avenue. She got there and she delivered the first baby. It was a girl weighing about 5 or 6 pounds. She waited and waited for an hour and 45 minutes for the placenta to come. She finally realized it wasn't a placenta, it was another baby. But this time, it was a little boy. But he only weighed about 2 pounds. Everybody in the room was silent, almost holding their breath. Someone even sent for the mortician. They thought it was stillborn. Finally, the baby cried. Oh, Miss Ellen put the babies in dresser drawers. She and Miss Charlotte would teach their patients to use boxes or dresser drawers for cribs. She also delivered a set of triplets. Oh, nothing was too much for Miss Ellen. You know why? She was a baby lady, baby lady. She was a baby lady, baby lady. She was a baby lady, baby lady. She was a midwife. Now, you've heard about fathers being nervous when their wives would go into labor. Yeah. Miss Ellen had a patient whose husband was so excited, so nervous, he didn't know what to do when she started screaming. He ran out of the house and locked the door behind him and just ran down the street just screaming. Someone came and got Miss Ellen. She got to the house, but she couldn't get in. She had to get someone to break in. She got in time and delivered the babies. Now, even though Miss Ellen's patients loved her, there were some white doctors that didn't like the black midwives being around. One said, when a woman is in her most needy time, she's often at the mercy of some coarse old dame or ignorant black granny. Another one said that they were a necessary evil that had to be controlled and regulated. Well, regulation meant required education, licensing, elimination. The state sent nurses, white nurses, to teach and train these midwives on state standards. They formed midwives' club. Miss Ellen was the president of one. Now, this practice of midwives was transformed from a cultural experience to a highly regulated one. And that wasn't all. No, the licensing wasn't everything. They had to do the filling out the certificates. And everything had to be perfect, or they would reject them. Now, the recording was done by hand. Miss Ellen's daughter, Vernica, did the recording for her patients, but they would always try to find some mistakes. Now, I told you Miss Ellen was no pushover, right? I could hear her now with that thick Bahamian accent saying, "Mommy, tank so." Now, Miss Ellen didn't let any of that stop her. She continued her practice until 1966. And even though she didn't pass on her gift to her daughter, she was allowed to be in the delivery room with her daughter when she delivered her baby. And that baby was me. Talking about the baby lady, baby lady. She was a baby lady, baby lady. She was a baby lady, baby lady. She was